Hey folks, it's Fridgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here in Boulder Canyon. We're just going to continue on our little journey that we started in yesterday's episode up to the sawmill, hoping that that log on the very, very top up there doesn't actually fall off. And we're going to sell this lot. So we are working towards getting ourselves the truck that we looked at, the C500. And that is going to be our next major purchase. Quite a few of you did respond to whether you thought I should get a tractor first or a truck. But the responses I got, just a tiny fraction seemed slightly in favor of the truck over the tractor. So that's what we're going to go for next. I didn't actually do an official question, but I feel that we had enough people answer that I think it takes a fairly representative view. And yes, I do understand that some of you feel that the tractor is definitely the best thing to go for because versatility, and we could use the tractor for the same thing as the truck. However, the truck itself it'll allow us to sort of specialize a bit more in forestry, which is not necessarily going to be a bad thing. I think that's going to be pretty good. And then we can start working towards the second tractor as our next purchase after we've got the truck. And I'm still not entirely sure which tractor I'm going to go for. But I asked you all before whether we should go for, what sort of brands we should go for. And 23,000, that's pretty good, that is. Let's just do that lot and those as well. $27,000 in one load. Okay, that's pretty epic. That's got to be a new record for us. 27,000. But yeah, so we've got to decide what tractor to get. And generally speaking, in this series, we're going to be aiming for Case, John Deere, and New Holland. That's the three brands that we're mostly going to be going for. So I'm thinking that it's either going to be a New Holland or a Case this time round. We'll leave the John Deere this time, and we'll probably go for a John Deere for our next tractor, for like a big tractor. I'm hoping that we will eventually get to quite a big tractor, and I thought that would be quite a good one to go for the really big tractor. So we'll go for a Case next, or a New Holland, depending on what I kind of fancy, and also depending on prices and other things like that. I'm not 100% sure which one I want yet, but I'm thinking that I will probably go for a New Holland because I'm using a Case in the time-lapse series, and I don't want to do the same in all of my series. So we'll see how it works. We'll see how it all pans out. Incidentally, the new DLC for Farming Simulator has just been announced, so you can tell when I'm recording this. Just come out, it's just been talked about, and it's a John Deere cotton harvester along with, so it's the John Deere cotton harvester that puts out round bale modules instead of big square bale modules, and a range of equipment to handle the round bale cotton modules as well. And it looks really cool. It does. I mean, the harvester itself looks pretty much the same as the other harvester. I'm not particularly excited about that in the slightest. But the other stuff that goes with it for the handling of the bales, that looks really good. So I've only seen some of it so far. We haven't seen all of it yet, but I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm thinking it's going to be quite an awesome thing. Right, switch to the left like that, and then we will start auto-loading wood and load these up here. I'm hoping that I will get all of those bits of timber right there. We've got two small little bits. There's one more up there. I'm going to get that one in a minute. It's going to do it. Oh, there we go. Right, ideal. We've got those, so now I can back down here like that and go over next to these heaps, and hopefully we'll pick up all of these as well. That's going to be another huge, great big load. So, I mean, if we're 25,000 plus, I think it's 175,000 that we're looking for, 170,000 that we're looking for, roughly. And, oh, I thought I'd missed that one at the back, but no, it didn't. It looks like it's got a fairly wide loading zone on the side of the trailer, which is good. That makes it a lot easier for us. Drop those down like that. And there. And then we can move on to the next bit. So what I was thinking, I was talking about sort of a loading area, a staging area, and some people said, well, we don't necessarily need an actual staging area. Usually you just drag the timber out and you leave it beside the road, and it's loaded from heaps beside the road. And when we do much the same thing there, we buy the land right there. We've got a truck that would be able to use for loading the for dragging the trailers here, and I'm really hoping, I did talk about this yesterday, that we can have 2 trailers. If we can have 2 trailers pulling the timber along, pulling the I think we will leave that load there. That'll do for a load. I think we'll just go with that, and we'll take this off to the mill and we'll sell this, and then we'll come back up and we'll do some more tree felling. If we get a 12-meter trailer, and we can use that one like we're using this one, and just sort of have the single length logs, except that we'll be doing it 7-meter logs rather than 8-meter logs that we're doing at the moment. We will take them out to the... We could use the 12-meter trailer and a tractor and drag them out to the side of the road, and then once they're out to the side of the road, then we go along with the truck and with 2 trailers, load them up, 7-meter logs, and have a nice big road train. That's kind of what I was talking about, but the actual truck that we're looking at is designed for off-road capabilities. So like the configurations that we would be doing, it's got all-wheel drive, and those sorts of trucks are actually designed for off-roading in forestry areas, that sort of thing. It definitely wouldn't be out of the way for that one to do the work of the tractor. We wouldn't need the tractor involved in the forestry stuff at all. The truck would be doing it. We could still... Well, we could just use one of these trailers, or we could use a 12-meter trailer to pull it out, but I would say that we'd only need one of these trailers. And we could load it going in and around the woods, and then bring them out to the side of the road and stack them up there, and then go and load the big loads with the road train in order to drag them back down here later on. Those are all of the above. It's kind of options. It's things that we can go and do, things that we can try out, and we sort of see which one works best. I suspect, really, it would just be quicker and easier just to load them wherever they sit. Right, we didn't get quite as much in this one. Just do that a minute. Oh, that one's stuck up there. Yeah. That one's not going to move. What we're going to have to try and... I wonder... Right, well, that's not going to do it. How do you unload? Change number of piles. Auto load. Fasten, unfasten. Start auto load. Wait, what? Oh no, the crane tool is the roof. Start auto load. Switch auto load to right. Oh, it's not recognizing that there's a log on board, which is why it's not doing anything. Right, okay. So it's not recognizing that this log is even on here. There, right. Hopefully that will allow me to sell it. So we're up to 136,000. There's $1,500 from a single log. We're doing very well at the moment with the timber. 138,000, and we needed, I think it was 170 in total to get our desired truck, which was the C500 day cab. It wasn't the hook lift one at all. That's 170,000. The different configurations of the truck, that's the one that we want right there. The not the double axle on the front, just the single axle on the front, with the double axles on the back. And 600 horsepower. I suspect that price bit there is supposed to be up there. I reckon that there's an error in this. The pricing hasn't quite been done right, and the configuration is supposed to change depending on some different things. But yeah, 170,000, so we need another 22,000. No we don't. 2,000, yeah, 32,000, sorry, not 22,000. 32,000, so we're going to need 2 loads. 32,000 to give us 2 loads, and that will actually give us a little bit of spare. I mean, if we have enough spare, I could always get a second trailer. Except that, no, I'm not going to get a second trailer. I don't want to do that. And I completely forgot to put the 30 times speed while I was loading, didn't I? Completely forgot. So we will just fast forward a little bit of time on that. Make up for it. We'll bring this one all the way up here. The great thing about doing another round of mowing and stuff, there's a couple things that I want to try with doing another round of mowing. Somebody said that if you put a front-mounted mower on and a baler on the back, the hired help will actually run the baler and the mower at the same time. You could just leave them going. If that is the case, we will try that on the field. That is something that we're going to attempt on the field once the grass is actually ready for cutting, so that we don't have to spend ages sat there doing the baling again. Because, quite frankly, I'm getting a bit fed up with doing baling. And yeah, we've been doing a bit of logging work as well, but we haven't done all that much using the Scorpion over here. So I feel that we can use the Scorpion, and that's going to be fine. Right, I can put that back down to normal speed now. There we go. Right, let's start using this bad boy, and yeah, we're sliding all over the place here, and we go along like this. So yeah, I've now got everything on one joystick for this, which I showed you all yesterday, and it works really well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the cut length now to 7 meter logs rather than 8 meter logs, so that once we have enough for the truck, we can start using the auto load slightly differently. So we will go 7 meter logs on there, and slice that one off. Right, now, where was I? I was, yeah, sometimes real life does interrupt. And let's just go through there. Take out, and it wasn't supposed to fall that way. That was only because I had to stop very quickly. I don't normally have it stop like that. And yeah, it's really not supposed to cut like that. It's supposed to leave them in neat and tidy piles. Not that it really matters in this series, because I'm not using any machine to pick up the timber. I'm just using auto load on this one. I am using machines to pick up the timber for the most part in the time-lapse series, which many of you know about. Right, I'm going to put that over there and sort of extend it out like that, and then we're going to do it from there. So yeah, I am sort of doing it with... Some of it's done with machinery in the time-lapse series, and some of it is not. And some of it is done just using an auto load. And I mean, both options are good. I haven't actually got the auto. I don't think I've actually used the auto load yet. No, I haven't. I haven't done anything with an auto load with logs yet in this new series, which surprises me, to be honest, because that's normally one of the first things I do is get myself an auto loader, so that I don't have to go doing it by hand. But honestly, since I've sort of figured this out, and having the joystick with the wheel loader and a steering wheel, that works really well. A wheel loader on keyboard steering like I'm using for this, yeah, that's not so much. Definitely not so much. But the when I'm not using keyboard steering, then yeah, and any articulated machine, it's a lot easier with a steering wheel. Using articulated machinery with keyboard steering, that doesn't work very well. And I've had quite a lot of people suggesting, because many of you know by now, I don't mean to do that. Many of you know by now that the reason that I do this series with just the keyboard is partly because I get quite a lot of joint pain when I'm using my... If I use my steering wheel for too long, I can't shift position very much when I'm using the steering wheel, and that results in a lot of discomfort, and I start to get some quite severe joint pain. And several people have suggested that things like trying to use an Xbox controller for it. I've tried using an Xbox controller. I really have, because the idea is absolutely brilliant. It really is a fantastic idea using the Xbox controller. I just can't get on with it. I just can't get on with it. I am all over the place. It is absolutely terrible. It's painful. It's painful to do it, and I can guarantee you that it would be painful to watch as well. So no, I've already sort of discounted the idea of using an Xbox controller. I don't know why, I just cannot get on with it at all. I've tried also, like, just on the Xbox. My kids have got, I think it's actually FS15 on the Xbox. Tried using it on there, I've tried doing it on there. I can't get on with it at all. It's just awful. It's like genuinely awful. And I mean, I used to play a couple of racing games on the PlayStation several years ago now. We're talking... I don't remember which Gran Turismo it was, but it was on PlayStation 2. And, you know, I was alright with that. Nintendo 64 many years ago. Nintendo 64 is still my favourite console. I loved that one, because I got on alright with that controller. It was the controller that did it for me. And yeah, that I could get on with, and I could do alright with that one. But honestly, the Xbox controller, and it might just be because I haven't used controllers for a very long time and I haven't really spent a lot of time doing it. I imagine with a bit of practice I could probably get my eye in on it, and sort of I would be able to start doing a little bit better than I do at the moment. But honestly, I don't really get on with them at all. I really struggle. And so no, I kind of like decided that I didn't really want to dedicate the huge amount of time that it would take in order for me to get even like a little bit good at using the controller. So I'll stick with the keyboard. I can do a better job at driving an articulated machine using a keyboard than I can with an Xbox controller. That's how bad I am using it. So I'd rather just stick with the keyboard and just kind of try and get my eye in a bit on that. And I mean, honestly, the only thing that I don't want to do with keyboard steering is this one here. Oops, steady. This one here, I get on alright with this one. What I don't really want to do is go using a articulated tractor, or articulated tractor is one that I don't want to do, or a wheel loader, articulated wheel loader. Both of those I sort of rule out, and I'd say any articulated machine, really. So the articulated telehandler as well, I would rule that one out with keyboard steering, because, yeah, when you're trying to use keyboard steering with a loader, it doesn't generally work very well. So I definitely want to use a telehandler for that. And I've done quite a bit of keyboard steering with a telehandler. I used to do all of my time-lapse stuff with a telehandler. And because I didn't get on very well with wheel loaders, because I used to be all keyboard steering rather than a steering wheel. And so, yeah, it definitely is easier using a non-articulated machine. And this is pretty much the only one that I would use with a keyboard. For some reason, these trees seem to be a slightly different length than a lot of the ones that I've been previously chopping down. Well, not necessarily chopping down on here, but chopping down on... I've been doing a lot of timber cutting on the Black Mountain map. And those trees, they seem to work out quite well with 7-meter logs. Whereas on this one, it doesn't seem to work quite so nicely. And yes, you've probably guessed that was a slight spoiler alert, because... Well, slight spoiler, I suppose, because that video's not actually come out yet, and I haven't done any Ponzi Scorpion work, because I got the Ponzi Scorpion at the end of the last episode, didn't I? Yeah. This is for those of you who watch it. I know that not everybody watches the time-lapse. Not everybody's into that. Some people just don't like the way that it moves so fast, and some people just prefer to have the standard speed stuff. I know some of you actually don't like the time-lapse, but you still watch these videos at 1.5 times speed. And I know there's a few of you that watch a lot of my videos at 1.5 times speed, so that you can get through as many of my videos in a day as possible. I know I do load up quite a lot. I definitely load up quite a lot of videos, so yeah, fair play to you if that's how you're doing it, so that you can actually watch all of the videos that I upload. That's not bad going, actually, because there's a lot of video. I think, well, I aim for like 30 minutes each video, don't I? So if we've got 4 videos going up every day, that's 2 hours of video every single day if you're watching all of it. Now, there are not very... I know that some people watch everything that I put up, but there are not very many people who do that. And the ones that I have heard of that do watch just about every single video that I post, a lot of you do watch it on 1.5 times speed. And I didn't even know that this was a thing until, like, 3 months ago. I honestly didn't realize that you could even do that on YouTube. And this has, like, opened up a whole new thing for me. Because you can go, there's all sorts of videos. You sort of think, oh, these videos, like, it's really good, but I don't really have time to watch it. And you can watch the whole thing that much faster. And, yeah, it's a little strange, admittedly, watching it at that kind of speed. But, honestly, it's a really cool thing. I genuinely had no idea that it was even... such a thing even existed. It's really cool. Right. Let's get that one there. Right, it's 6:30 at the moment. So we've got an hour and a half left before darkness falls, which for us is obviously not a complete hour and a half. 5 times speed, aren't we? So it takes 1 minute for 5 minutes, which means it takes 5 minutes for 25 minutes, or 6 minutes for half an hour, or 12 minutes for an hour, in theory. So we've got, by that calculation, we've got 18 minutes of daylight left, and then we have to be in bed. We have to be safely tucked into bed. But we'll probably be fast-forwarding a bit more time before then. So like I said, I'm very, very tempted to just go through, cut down every single tree that remains, and then I bring that one back over this way, like that. And we'll just kind of keep working through like this so that we can keep cutting these trees down and then dragging them over slightly downhill. Putting them there. Bring that one around. Bring that back through. Drag them over that side. So we're ditching them down there and we're taking the trees that are pretty much directly in front of us as we go forward. And we can work our way through them like this. And that does actually seem to work quite well. Just move that one out. It's so much easier with this joystick. With having now that I've got it set up on the joystick. I mean, yeah, sometimes with a tree like this, it's a little bit difficult to see it lining up. Fortunately, with the game, you don't have to get the thing completely wrapped around the tree in order for it to cut. So sometimes, like that, you do get a little bit of a struggle to sort of see where everything is. But I tell you what, it's made such a difference to being able to do this once I got, having this joystick set up. It really does. It's absolutely fantastic. How much did the joystick cost, I was asked the other day. I can't remember where, but it was £15. I got a second-hand one off of eBay. It was £15, which is just under $20. It's a Logitech Attack 3 joystick. Nothing particularly special, I don't think. And it was a used one off of eBay. It's worked absolutely perfect. And it's got all these extra buttons and stuff on it. It's not just the joystick. It's got the trigger button underneath, obviously. And then there's the 4 buttons on the top that I'm using. I've mapped those onto it. And that's the bit. That's what's made it work, is those buttons on the top. But a Logitech Attack 3 joystick. That's what I got. And it works absolutely wonderfully. And we've got a tree there that I cut down that I didn't actually realise was there. We need to remember to get that one. In tomorrow's episode, when we start loading up the timber, we will make sure that we grab that. So let's cut that one down there and swing you back over that side, like that. It's really awesome just being able to pull the trigger on the joystick to cut every time. That's something that I should have mapped onto it a long time ago, because honestly, it's wonderful. Although, saying that, when I tried to map something to that trigger button quite a little while ago now, it wouldn't work. So I'm assuming that probably the 1.3 update, they did a lot of the controller things in 1.3 update for Farming Simulator. I'm assuming that was one of the things that they addressed, because I definitely couldn't map the trigger button to anything previously. It's like not all of the buttons were being recognized, and they are now a lot more recognised. And here we go. We got the whole thing where it's not quite wanting to grab the tree properly, but I've done it there, I think. There we go. Swing you back round. So yeah, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to line up and to see what you're doing, but that's mainly just seeing what you're doing. It's not to do with the actual controls and that. It's just trying to get the machine itself to work. And we're going to try and see what this is like from in-cab. Now, I don't know how well this is going to go from in-cab, but it might actually work. Did it there. I did that all right. Let me lift that one up, and we bring it back over this way. I mean, yeah, I've got a severe lack of depth perception on this. And that I don't like. But I tell you what, this is one in-cab view that I could actually get used to, I think. Like, if this was definitely going to work properly, that's as far out as we can go, so we don't want to go there, but can I get that one? See what I mean with the depth perception? I can't quite... Oh, there we go. Got that one. And then lift, and then I'll bring that one in, like, oop. Don't want to do that. I go like that. Drag it out over there. It's a little bit difficult to judge the distances and everything being in the cab, but I still really like this. This is actually quite... This is really cool. There's no denying that this is actually really cool. For once, I am looking at an in-cab view in Farming Simulator, and I'm thinking this is actually pretty good. I actually do like this view. And that does not happen very much. I am not... most of you know, I really am not a fan of in-cab view at all in any way, shape or form. I just don't like it. It almost always makes me feel quite queasy and sick with motion sickness. And I don't suffer from motion sickness at all, right? I do not suffer from motion sickness. I can have a nice, great big greasy fry up and go out onto the ocean. I just don't get travel sick. I don't get motion sickness. I do not suffer from it in any way, shape or form unless I'm in cab in Farming Simulator, which is really bizarre. Like that is a genuinely bizarre thing, but it is a thing. So there you go. Put that one over there. See, yeah, I am really struggling with the depth perception on this. That is definitely a struggle to be able to see where I'm going with it. But overall, it's working. I mean, yeah, I am dragging a tree right through my cab at the moment, which is a little bit different. Not a normal everyday sort of thing. 7-meter logs are the lengths that we want, but I've noticed that these trees aren't quite full-length trees. Almost all of these trees are not full-length trees, which means that we're getting a lot of little tiny tails left at the top of the tree, which is... I mean, it should be alright with the loading of the logs. It shouldn't really cause any issues when we come to actually load all the logs up, but it might do, because sometimes those little tiny bits, they have an unfortunate habit of, like, falling off the side of the trailer, and we still need to be able to pick them all up. It's definitely something that we're going to need to be able to do. That one over there. So I'm actually, like, I'm genuinely liking this experience. And yeah, it is still difficult to make the judgment for the depth and everything. Quite where I need to put this thing. Because, like there, I actually want to be a little bit close to those trees, I think. And then I'll be able to get all of them. But, like there, I'm actually able to catch hold of them and do a reasonable job of it as well. Strip those down through and we'll cut them right there. And then we can swing back. We won't need to move the scorpion at all to get those next trees. Chop that one there. And then I'll get this one here, this a bit closer to us. Now, is that forward? Oh, yeah, yeah. Excellent. Chop you down. This is awesome. This is absolutely brilliant. And this is all down to the joystick controls. If I was trying to do this with the mouse controls, Yeah, this wouldn't be anywhere near as fun. I've tried doing this with the mouse controls before. The joystick is making the difference to the enjoyment of it. Having a steering wheel set up with this one, it does work. Like, it is something that you can do, but honestly, it's not something that I think would make a huge difference to it. Well, I know that it's not going to make a huge difference to it. Not while you're actually operating this one. For other things, the steering wheel does make a difference, and it can make quite an enjoyable experience with the well, with everything that you do. And a lot of us know that. That's why we use the steering wheels. They do make a difference. Let's bring that one over there. Oops. You are. And yeah, this is the sort of bit that I've gone too far there now. I'll bring it back. Ah, got it. Ideal. Lift that and swing you out over there. That one's only going to cut in half, I think. There we go. And then come back over and we've got a nice big tree over here. And that's going to be about it for this episode. And I think in our next episode, we will start off by... well, we're going to have to skip the night, I think. Bring that one in. Sometimes the way that the machine grabs hold of the tree is not like true to real life, and that can cause you an issue or two. But yeah, in our next episode, we will load up and we will sell. I suspect the timber that we've got on the floor will be enough to be able to buy the machine that we want to get, the actual truck. Let's go out of cab. We've got that view there, or we've got this view over here. Let's back up now. We'll go right over to... Actually, you know what? We're just going to stop right here. We're going to leave that one go right there. And we'll get it ready so that we can start loading up with the tractor. I want to go up to the top, and I want to load up those odd-shaped ones over there before we do anything else. But that's all we've got time for, so if you've enjoyed the episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to go and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.